We've got a lot to get through, so let's go straight over to my first guest. He'll be with me for the first 60 sizzling minutes of tonight's Political Asylum. He is Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum, always my Thursday friend, Philip Kiszely. Welcome, Philip.
Oh, hi, Kev. It's great to see you.
Always a pleasure, mate. Listen, let's talk about Pakistan. Very strange syndrome. Because was it last week, I believe, we revealed the extraordinary story that as part of our foreign aid programme, you know, we seem to continue to send millions and millions and millions of pounds, billions actually, of pounds abroad. You know, when we could well do with it here. Why we do this, I don't know, but we do. But it turns out that for the past few years, most of it, or the biggest amount of it, has gone to Pakistan. So last week, we revealed that £111 million of British money went to Pakistan to help fund its family planning programme. And in effect, £111 million of our British taxpayers' money paid for contraceptives in Pakistan. Well, you know, I'll leave people to ruminate on that, but that one beats me. Last night we revealed that another £19 million went to Pakistan, that's just gone to Pakistan, to help Pakistan deal with its child sex abuse problem. Now, again, you know, I wish Pakistan well with its family planning programme, you know, and I wish also Pakistan well with its battle, its efforts to tackle its child abuse, sex abuse problem. You know, nobody likes that. But why are we sending £19 million to Pakistan when we ought to surely be spending that on our own problems, because we aren't exactly on top of our own escalating child sex abuse problems, are we? So I looked into this, and it turns out that, you know, we most of our, for the past 3 or 4 years, or it's gone down a little, but traditionally the country that got the most money from Britain in our part of our international aid programme was Pakistan. For example, we over the past year we've handed this Muslim country this is up until 2025, so over the past year, £133 million, with an extra £1.33 million for emergency flood relief. Also, it turns out that we, in 2023, we sort of relatively modest, sent them £69 million, which is down significantly from the sort of world record 2019 amount, bumper gift we sent them that year, of £305 million. £305 million. So often Pakistan is top of the charts in the money that we send abroad, the virtue signalling money that we send abroad. The reason that I'm questioning this is that Pakistan has nuclear weapons, nuclear power stations, and its own rather substantial space program. Why do you think it is that we send so much money to Pakistan?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the irony there is just sickening, isn't it? You know, we're sending money to abused Pakistani children, and it's awful that Pakistani children are being abused. It's terrible, but we have our own children who are being abused as well, and most of those children are being abused by mostly men of Pakistani heritage. I mean, it's appalling to think of that irony, but it's there. This decision to spend so much money is entirely political, of course. It's got nothing to do with the International Development Act that requires that developed countries should gift money and aid to developing nations. As you say, this Pakistan has a space program. It isn't a developing nation in many ways. It doesn't meet all of that criteria. But we have a Pakistani diaspora, and we have a Muslim bloc vote, and that is dominating where this money goes from, because this government is terrified of losing that Muslim bloc vote. Now, it absolutely has lost that Muslim bloc vote, because it has Jeremy Corbyn on the one hand, and it has the Green Party on the other, as well as the independent MPs. But that's what it is. This is entirely political. All of that money is going there for entirely political reasons. And what we see now, we're beginning to see our government appeasing this sectarian situation we have in this country. Don't forget, just this week, Iqbal Mohamed, who's the MP for Batley and Dewsbury, tweeted, it was just yesterday or the day before, that he tweeted that he was Muslim, British, and listed his identities. Crucially, he put Muslim first. Okay, so I think there's a problem that he's British second, and that identity, this religious fundamentalism and the sectarianism. Pakistan is the biggest, highest profile Muslim country that you could describe as poor. In other words, it's outside of the Middle East. So I think that says something about it, at least, Kev.
Yeah, and on the gov.uk website, which is where the government sort of puts out all of its propaganda and its messages, it says about this 111 million pounds that we sent them for contraceptives for their family planning programme. It says the UK is committed to support Pakistan's plan to manage population growth. Why? Why is the UK committed to support Pakistan's plan to manage population growth? I think, I don't mind, I wouldn't mind Britain saying, well, that's a good idea, you're overcrowded, well, good luck with it. But to then follow that up by saying, here's 111 million pounds for prophylactics, I've got an issue there. What's going on?
Well, this is all about priorities, isn't it? And as much as anything, all of the reasons I said before, but it's all about this ridiculous virtue signalling as well. And there is a sense that, the Pakistani Pakistan and the Muslim world means more to many people in this country than Britain does. So when people used to be on the campaign trail for elections, by-elections, local elections, and so on and so forth, it used to be domestic welfare and infrastructure that is the key. Now they're talking more and more about, well, the obvious example, Kev, is Gaza, isn't it? But they're talking about all of the issues in the Muslim world, and this is an issue in the Muslim world. We are beginning to see this as a dominant issue of human rights now, and of course, in reality, it's nothing to do with us. The roads are falling apart. We've got a government that simply doesn't work. The country is grinding to a halt. We're on the cusp of an economic breakdown, and we're sending money to Pakistan. It's absolutely insane.
It certainly is. And also around the world, just generally foreign aid. I think we have to start talking about this. Yeah. As everybody says, the international aid minister is the only minister in government who has to go to committee to justify why he hasn't, or he or she has not spent enough. They have to reach their quota. Used to have to be 0.7% of GDP, gross domestic product, but now is 0.5%. So we used to send abroad 15.3 billion pounds. I believe it's now down to about 12 billion. But it's 12 billion pounds. That's a hell of a lot of money to send. I don't know, we discussed this the other week. Some of the, it's for things like dancing lessons in Tanzania, and how to juggle, and helping Guatemalans give up smoking and things like this. And you say, what is this nonsense for? We need this money. And the political types will tell you, the Westminster bubble boys and girls will tell you, oh, well, when we send money, we did literally, Philip, you probably heard this one, but we did literally a few years back send a significant amount of money to China to help teach their peasants how to grow rice. Yeah. We also sent a lot of money to India because you know, and you ask why, because they've got a very big space program, landed on the moon not so long ago, didn't they? You know, we were talking, I think, about Ethiopia. We sent something like 4 million quid to Ethiopia to help them produce their own Spice Girls. I mean, and so the bubble boys and girls, the way, it's true, it's true.
I didn't know that one. I didn't know that one.
It's true. I'll look it up for you in a second. But the Westminster gang will tell you, oh, well, you know, it's not always actually about aid. It's about soft diplomacy. You know, we send money to China and India, you know, so we can keep in their good books because they're big economic powers. It's like, well, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. We need that money. There are so many problems in this country that we could be spending this £12 billion on and spraying it abroad because it makes life a bit easier for our lousy government when they're dealing with these other countries. That is not a justification.
It really isn't, and it's so ridiculously paternalistic as well. So all of these people will, on the one hand, they will act as though they're a colonial empire, and on the other hand, they will be demanding reparations and saying how evil our past was. They cannot get out of the mindset. But the real problem is, and I know this because I live in a northern red wall town, and I travel around the country speaking at events and all of that kind of stuff, and I walk through town centres, city centres and small town centres. There is so much poverty out there. There are so many children who are living under the poverty line. We need this money here. It's not only wrong, it's obscene and immoral that we are sending money to one of the most brutal dictatorships in the world, which is China, who have God knows how many million Uyghur Muslims get you in concentration camps and picking cotton in fields.
It's a bit like...
Are we going to be sending money to North Korea next, or Russia? Where does it go from here?
And also sending money to the Chinese to teach them how to grow rice is a bit like them sending us money to teach us how to make fish and chips or something. It's ridiculous. Anyway, just before we go to break, for your edification, Dr. Kiszely, £5.2 million in 2017 went to Ethiopia to help them develop or create their own version of the Spice Girls. Their Ethiopian girl band was called Yegna, which means hours in Ethiopian. So, you know, that's a good use of our money, isn't it?
What do viewers think of that? I'd love to know. If people could phone in, I'd really love to know.
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. Listen to the doctor, folks. What do you think about this? I mean, specifically, we're talking about this strange syndrome that year after year, the country that gets the most of our foreign aid is Pakistan. But more to the point, what about? Why do we send £5.2 million? A few years back, admittedly, 2017. The Tories in power then, of course. Why did we send £5.2 million to Ethiopia so they could develop their own Spice Girls called Yegna? Wonder whatever happened to Yegna. I don't see them dominating the international charts. So that's 5.2 million quid down the drain, isn't it? Give us a ring. Let us know what you think. 0344 499 1000. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Shamima Begum, the ISIS bride who certain sections of our society want to welcome back to Britain. Do you want to welcome her back to Britain, this terrorist traitor to this country? 0344 499 1000. That next. Stay tuned. Shamima Begum is that she was only, I think, 15, 16 when she ran away from Britain to join ISIS. Married an ISIS warrior, so she became an ISIS bride, lived in the caliphate out there, was really steeped in what they were up to. Part and parcel of that horror show. She's still stuck out there. She's languishing in a desert camp, a godforsaken desert camp in the middle of the Syrian desert. Now, she can't come back to Britain, principally because she's not a British citizen. Sajid Javid years ago had her citizenship stripped from her, so she's not actually technically a British citizen. But a review, a terrorism review by something called the Independent Commission on UK Terrorism, says that ISIS bride Ms Begum should be returned to Britain. They say that these camps in the Syrian desert, there's quite a few British people there who are not allowed to return, mainly because they're terrorist traitors. These camps are in danger of becoming Britain's Guantanamo. Don't care. And that these people are forced to live, including Shamima, in inhumane and degrading conditions, that their treatment is inhumane and degrading. And they say that leaving Shamima and her pals, her British pals out there, is inconsistent with Britain's international human rights obligation. Now, this recommendation to bring Shamima Begum back to Britain has gone to the Home Secretary, Shamima Mahmood. Now, she's supposed to be hard as nails, tough as old boots. This is a test for her because I say she needs to, in no uncertain terms, reject this recommendation out of hand. Because if this woman, Shamima Begum, comes back, she's a traitor, she's a dangerous traitor, she's a terrorist. She will present a clear and present security threat to this nation. I'm told that if she did come back, obviously she would face trial, but her mere presence would cost at least £1 million a year in security, cost us £1 million a year. And if she lives in inhumane and in inhumane conditions, degrading conditions, here's the deal, Philip. You know, watch my lips. I don't care. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Nobody cares about you. So I hope Shamima or Shabana Mahmood shares our disdain for this woman. We can't let her back, can we?
We can't. I mean, for so many reasons. First of all, though, you know, worrying about the humanitarian conditions of terrorists, and it's always the way, isn't it? They always care about terrorists. They don't care about victims, and they don't care about potential victims, which is what we're talking about here, and which is what we're concerned about. Because when she comes back here, she is a massive security threat, and it's not just her. It's not about her strapping on some kind of nail bomb and going to a concert or whatever, you know, whatever they do. It isn't just about that. It's the fact that she's a symbol. She's a catalyst to mobilize these kind of people, because it will be seen as a victory. It will be seen as a gesture of weakness. And what we're seeing week in, week out, when we were talking, was it last week or the week before, we were talking about Birmingham and those extremists taking to the street and chanting hatred against Jews and hatred against Britain and flying Palestinian flags and all of that kind of thing. There's a trying out aspect of this, isn't there? They're kind of pushing this as far as they could go. And if they have a figurehead who's been part of who was married to a terrorist, and you can describe her as a terrorist because she was part of that, coming back here and pretty much saying all is forgiven, come back, everything's going to be okay, you can get a job in a supermarket and just carry on leading your life, then where do we stand with all of this kind of stuff? Where is the justice in any of that? What about the people who were beheaded? What about the people who were murdered? All of that stuff. This is ridiculous. So I think this is an incredibly important decision. And if she caves on this, then we are in real trouble, because we will see the lunatics, the Islamists, the terrorists, the potential terrorists mobilized and coming for us. I really do think it's that bad, Kev.
I agree. And this outfit called the Independent Commission on UK Terrorism, they estimate that there's between 50 and 70 British nationals, including, I guess, Shamima Begum, although technically she is not a British national. The majority of these people are women, and there are between 12 to 30 children there as well. Half of them are under the age of 10. So where did they have these kids? Out there, I'd suggest. This outfit is saying, this commission is saying, the government should facilitate the voluntary repatriation for British nationals, including those deprived of British nationality. It should appoint a special envoy to oversee repatriation and inform returnees of the likelihood of prosecution. Well, I've got a better idea. Just leave them there. They all ran away to join ISIS. They joined our enemies. They became terrorists. They helped in the fight against us. They armed themselves. They took part in this campaign of terror against the West. This is years ago when she ran away in the first place. So what's the big urge? What's the big need to bring them back? You're stuck in the Syrian desert, you don't like it, consider it a punishment. Who cares? What are they talking about?
Yeah, because if we don't do that, if we don't keep her there, then she won't be properly punished. This is the whole thing. And we are a ridiculous country. Nobody takes us seriously because we allow this kind of stuff to happen for us. They hate us. These activists, these terrorists, these plotters, they absolutely hate us. And that's not me reading between the lines or looking for inner meanings. They tell us, they absolutely tell us that they want to bring down the West. They hate Britain. They hate us. The extreme. I'm not talking about all Muslims here, Kev, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm talking about extremists. I'm talking about ISIS. I'm talking about Islamism. They say that they want to overtake us. They say that they want to take over. Iqbal Mohamed, again, he was talking in a Your Party rally, wasn't he, the other day? And he was saying, he wants to take over the country. He wants to not just Birmingham, the country in the West. So
yeah, they've already managed. They've already done it in Birmingham.
Yeah.
No, they've taken over Birmingham. They want to get the rest of the country, yeah.
Exactly. But listen to what they say. They are giving us a message. It's crystal clear, and we refuse to listen to it. We treat them like infants. They aren't infants. They're very...
This is a grown woman now. Admittedly, she was underage when she left, but again, I think that's an irrelevance.
Yes.
It's what she's done since. Here she is... in an interview in 2021 on Good Morning Britain. Now, this is an artful woman. She's a crafty character who all of a sudden stopped wearing the burqa, suddenly started appearing in Western clothes and baseball caps to seem more palatable to us. Here she is talking to GMB.
I am asking the British people to forgive me because I made a mistake at a very young age. Most young people don't know what they want to do with their lives, and they are very confused, and they can easily fall into things like this. And I know it's very hard for the British people to try and forgive me because, they've lived in fear of ISIS. They've lost loved ones because of ISIS, but I also have lived in fear of ISIS, and I also have lost loved ones because of ISIS. Honestly, the only crime I think I committed was being dumb enough to come to ISIS, and even that can be refuted because I was 15 when I came, and you can't, judge a 15-year-old for making a mistake.
Yeah, we can. And she is a schemer. She is a schemer. There's no doubt about it. And it's a shame she was 15 when she went, but she went on to marry an ISIS warrior, gave these chilling interviews before that one when she was still wearing the burqa, but not really affected by walking every day past waste paper bins full of beheaded heads, seeing people thrown off car parks because they were gay. She didn't seem to be bothered about any of that. Married an ISIS warrior, had 4 children, they all died. She's now stuck in the desert, and long may she remain there as far as I'm concerned. Let me know what you think, folks. 0344 499 1000. We do not forgive you, Miss Begum. When we come back, let's talk about the psychodrama in Downing Street as various ministers line up to defenestrate Keir Starmer from number 10. I'd wish them well, except for if we get rid of Starmer, things could get even worse. Fancy Ed Miliband? Because he's the most likely successor, or even worse, well, actually not quite as worse, Angela Rayner. These are the people waiting in the wings, folks. So if you thought it was bad now, you ain't seen nothing yet. Careful what you wish for. Although I can't bear the idea of saying I'd like Keir Starmer to stay. I don't want him to stay, but the replacements, oh my God. Let me know what you think about that. 0344 499 1000. We'll talk about that after this break. Welcome back. I'm still with Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum, Dr. Philip Kiszely. Philip, let's talk about the psychodrama in Downing Street. the story so far. Starmer's gone into full bunker mode. There's no doubt there are major plots against him. Labour have had enough of this useless lump. They need a better Prime Minister, otherwise they are doomed to disaster at the next election. They know that. And many of them are thinking we need to get rid of him sooner rather than later. Chief amongst them, of course, is the Health Secretary, West Streeting, who's been busy protesting his innocence. Sounds like an episode of Traitors. It's absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, right, West. Yeah, we believe you. You're totally innocent, aren't you? But West Streeting is regarded in some ways to be not much more than a stalking horse. What this is about, in terms of Labour's internal conflict, is that the left wing of the party don't think that Keir Starmer's left wing enough. And therefore, if they do manage to defenestrate him, waiting in the wings, horror of horror, is or are Ed Miliband, the most popular cabinet minister by a country mile among the Labour rank and file and by the left-wing backbench MPs, and the most popular arena. So you can double act if you're not careful running the country. Well, look, in the middle of all this, there's been a huge row about Morgan McSweeney, the Chief of Staff in Downing Street, who is said to be the briefer against West Streeting. He's saying West Streeting's the man, West Streeting. Now, West Streeting, as I say, went on the media around protesting his innocence. If you believe that, I've got some swampland to sell you in Florida. But nevertheless, Keir Starmer has apologised to him and said, sorry, you shouldn't have been cited. And West Streeting has made it pretty clear that it's Morgan McSweeney who's been doing all the briefing against him. So the briefing war is the big story in Labour. There's no doubt Starmer's in big trouble here. This is serious. But here he is today on the briefing war.
I've been talking to my team today. I've been assured that no briefing against ministers was done from number 10, but I've made it clear that I find it absolutely unacceptable. If it transpires...
So you're saying it didn't come from Downing Street?
I've been assured it didn't come from Downing Street, but I'd be equally clear that whether it's this case or any other, I intend to deal with it.
If it didn't come from Downing Street, where did it come from? And will you sack the person who's responsible?
Well, I will absolutely deal with anybody responsible for briefing against ministers, cabinet ministers or other ministers.
Gone by Christmas. No, I think he'll probably go straight after. A lot of people think he might be gone by Christmas, but and he's in serious trouble. Make no mistake, this is serious. I think they will cling on to him, or they'll let him stay there until the local elections next May, where Labour will be absolutely flattened, absolutely thrashed, and then they'll say, right, he has to go and a new person will come in, a new broom, to try to save the day. But there you go. So he's apologised to West Streeting. I don't think he should have done that, to be honest with you. But the real person he's got to worry about, I mean, and this is so terrifying, it's off the scale, is this guy, Ed Miliband, the nut zero crazy man, because he's the popular one. He's the one that left-wingers want. Him being Prime Minister, it just doesn't bear thinking about. But here he is earlier today on Times Radio.
I think it's been an unfortunate 2 days, to put it mildly. But, you know, these briefings happen. They're bad. I'm sure Keir's absolutely furious about it. And I tell you, though, the thing that sustains you in politics through these turbulence, and I have been around a long time, and I remember the Blair Brown briefings, which were actually far worse than this. And what sustains you through this turbulence is mission. Having a sense of mission, having a sense of values, knowing where you're going. And that's what this... And you know, my advice to my colleagues is stop looking inwards.
You shouldn't really comment on people's looks, but he is a weird-looking bozo, isn't he? He really, really is. Anyway, he's waiting in the wings as well. Anyway, so when Ed is talking, Crazy Ed is talking about the briefing against ministers, the person doing it allegedly, is Chief of Staff Morgan McSweeney. You remember Morgan McSweeney? They said, oh, he'll get rid of Sue Gray and he's an amazing operator. He'll turn Labour into a lean machine. Yeah, right, yeah. He's as useless as the rest of them, absolutely hopeless. But he's the guy in the frame, and bad news for him. Bad news for him, I'm afraid, Philip. After the Prime Minister refused to be drawn on Morgan McSweeney yesterday at Prime Minister's Question Time, Kemi Badenoch directly challenged him on it. Are you going to get rid of your Chief of Staff? He didn't say anything, so that wasn't particularly confidence-inspiring for Mr McSweeney. Today, even worse, Keir Starmer has declared his full confidence in Morgan McSweeney, so he'll be gone by tomorrow, right?
Poor Keir, eh? Infamy, they've all got... I think that's kind of essentially what it is. Mind you, you're talking about looks. I was just looking at Keir Starmer then, and I'm alarmed to see that I'm dressed identically to him, so I'm going to have to change my...
Well, you're a bit of a fanboy, aren't you? You know?
Well, you know, I'm out of the closet now. I'm going to have to change my style. I mean, the key point here is you're absolutely right, Kev, when you say it isn't... West Streeting isn't the person to worry about, it's the far left, because there was polling out today that showed Labour not only behind the Conservatives and obviously way behind Reform, but also, and this is the key thing, Kev, behind the Green Party as well. Now that's extraordinary, okay? That's absolutely extraordinary. So the Labour Party are looking at all of those votes, looking at all those far left, extremist, loony left votes, and thinking we need them back. We need to get rid of Keir Starmer because all of those people have just defected to the Green Party and defected to Jeremy Corbyn's clown party as well. So I think there's so much stuff going on here. He is essentially, you know, he's a dead man walking, isn't he? It's just a matter of time.
It's when they decide to swing the axe, not if. And I suspect, I mean, a lot of people in Westminster are genuinely saying gone by Christmas. But I think that would be, well, perhaps you might say a characteristically wrong move by Labour, because you might as well wait till the local elections, when Labour will get an utter shellacking. You know, they'll be thrashed all over the country. Then it makes sense to say, this leader isn't working, new broom, here's a new leader. Blame Starmer for that. If you get a leader in, say by Christmas or early next year, and Labour will still inevitably get a thrashing at the local elections in May, then that new leader takes the blame and is tarnished. So the wise political thing to do would be to wait until the annihilation of the local elections next May. But with Labour, I mean, when I say wise political thing to do, knowing Labour, they won't do it. You know, they're not known for their wisdom, are they? Let's go to break, because we've got a lot to talk about the BBC next. Incredibly, you'll love this, Philip, incredibly, it turns out that, you know, Panorama's in big trouble for doctoring that famous January the 6th, 2021 speech by Donald Trump. It's triggered a $1 billion lawsuit. We're hearing that the corporation may apologise tomorrow, grovellingly. Turns out Newsnight did it as well, that other BBC programme. As I said in my monologue, do those lying truth twisters at the state broadcaster ever get anything right? That next, stay tuned. After the 8 o'clock news, we'll be talking to one of the Doncaster nurses, the brave nurses who are suing their local health authority for allowing men into their safe female spaces, into their changing rooms. It's one of these gender rows, and we'll find out all about the guy who identified as a woman, called himself Rose Henderson, but his real name's Tyler Henderson. He's the one that marched around amongst them with his boxer shorts on, with holes in the boxer shorts, proving to them very obviously that he was not a woman. It's a disgusting thing to do. We'll talk about that in just a little while. But first, back to Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum, Dr. Philip Kiszely. Philip, the BBC, tomorrow is D-Day for the BBC, because Donald Trump has demanded a grovelling apology, and but they sure as hell should give him that apology, because he deserves it. For, of course, back last October, so not the one just gone, but just before the presidential election, so October 24, Panorama ran a documentary called Trump Second Chance. Everybody knows about this story now. And they doctored together, or they doctored his speech that he gave to the crowd because he was moaning, oh, Joe Biden stole the election from me, I should have won, blah, blah, blah. The crowd, the mob, were angry. And they subsequently stormed Capitol Hill. Donald Trump actually made a speech telling them to all calm down. But Panorama docked together two bits of the speech 54 minutes apart to make it look as if he'd sort of caused the insurrection and told the mob to run up, storm Capitol Hill, fight, fight, fight. Well, he'd done nothing of the sort. So it's an egregious defamation. It's an egregious libel. The president has given notice. He's going to sue the BBC for $1 billion. And the first thing he demands from them by tomorrow is a grovelling apology. So far, they've failed to do that. So D-Day is tomorrow. If they don't apologise, he'll carry on with this lawsuit. But I think even if they do, he'll carry on with it. So they're in deep trouble there. But it now turns out, incredibly, that a couple of years before that, an episode in 2022, Newsnight doctored footage of a different Donald Trump speech and ignored concerns that were raised about it. The edit was similar to a version aired on a Panorama documentary that was broadcast last year. So they've done it again. They've done it again. Apparently much closer together, not 54 minutes. But they've doctored it and not made that clear to the audience. That's Newsnight. So yes. I'm beginning to sort of think. Meanwhile, by the way, I forgot to mention they've had to apologise to Rupert Lowe, the independent MP for Great Yarmouth, for not giving him enough time to respond to a story that they wrote on their website about how he'd handled £600,000 that he'd raised for his independent rape gang inquiry. In fact, he was perfectly legitimate. He hadn't done anything wrong. They said, oh, they were going to imply, oh, what's he done with all this money? They didn't give him time to respond. So they've just had to apologise for him for that. And you're beginning to sort of wonder if this bunch of truth twisters, these liars at the state broadcaster, ever do anything right. This is getting ridiculous.
It is, and the people who are defending the BBC, and there are lots of them, not just the people who work for the BBC, but there are so many people defending the BBC, and they're saying, oh, it's just one instance, it's not the BBC is the envy of the world, really, I don't think it is. And then, of course, this transpires as well, and it's exactly the same thing. It's making out that Donald Trump is inciting violence. It's absolutely outrageous. But I think what we really need to do is push here as a nation. If we're going to stop, if we're going to attack this mind virus that is just destroying our nation, then we need to defund the BBC and get rid of the BBC, because it's one of the main carriers, as we can see. The point is, they're not even sorry about this stuff. They don't, they actually think, oh well, it's only Donald Trump. He's horrible.
Yeah, they don't think you can. They think you cannot defame Donald Trump because they've got Trump derangement syndrome, and they think he's just awful. He's so awful that it's impossible to put him in a bad light, a worse light than is the reality. Incredibly, Philip, their defence, so far we understand that their lawyers are preparing a defence to say that by making it look as if Donald Trump called for insurrection and a violent assault on Capitol Hill, which he didn't, by making it look like that, they're saying that did not materially damage him. Now, they showed that documentary, Trump, A Second Chance, just before last year's presidential election. So just before. So, he got away with it. He won the election comfortably. But to say that this did not in any way materially damage him or his chances is nonsense. And it's hard to imagine a worse defamation, a worse libel. And at Newsnight, this was obviously last year, a couple of years before this, June the 9th, 2022, Newsnight did the same thing. they spliced together bits of his speech to make it look as if he was calling for trouble, calling for insurrection. It's because they hate Trump so much. They think this is justified.
Yeah, but also they're totally divorced from reality. They live in their own little bubble, and everybody who works from the BBC comes from the same background. They're all chattering class, middle class, soaked in identity politics, virtue signalling buffoons who just think that they are right about everything, and everybody who disagrees with them is wicked and evil. So once you characterize those people as wicked and evil, then you can say what you want about them. You can do what you want. You can call them all sorts of names. And of course, Trump, as I said before, he's the personification of all this. You know, he is literally Hitler. So anything we do is justified. And that's where we are. All of these people, they're all the same. They all go to the same universities. They all train at the BBC. They all come from the same places. They all have the same background, and they all think this is the crucial thing. The BBC bangs on about diversity. These people all think the same thing, and they all live in the same fantasy land.
Yeah, and they can't get it through their heads. You know, the magnitude of the situation is pretty clear. The Director General and the head of news have had to resign over this. And at the BBC and at The Guardian and all the left-wing enclaves of this fabulous country of ours, they're basically going, oh, come on, what's the fuss? Come on, this is a lot of fuss about nothing. Well, if it's about nothing, how come the Director General, the boss of the entire organisation, and the head of news have had to resign? Honestly, they are deluded, they're in denial, and they better issue one hell of a grovelling apology tomorrow, otherwise they're in deep trouble. They probably are anyway. Philip, fantastic to talk to you as always. Philip Kiszely there, senior fellow at the New Cultural Forum.